when you come on screen, it is, we were literally hitting each other. We were, all of us, complete strangers in the theater.
Oh,
and
that's great.
it just opens and we're like, oh my God, it's happening. And we knew it was going to happen. There was something in the back of our heads that we knew, but it was still so friggin' exciting.
Very, very cool. And also, like, it's a kind of, there was a brotherhood that got created between Toby, Tom, and myself. And like, that's healing as well, between Toby and Tom and I, where we were like, oh my God, like, you find it hard to pee in the suit, I find it hard to pee in the suit. And, and like, you know, and deeper versions of that as well. Rachel.
Oh, Andrew.
Rachel.
Oh my God.
Rachel.
Andrew.
I need you to tell me what's going on. Because, sorry, I know that what's happening? Because you're in my favorite movie of the year.
You're in my favorite movie of the year. Yay, we have things in common.
Keep away from him. As long as you're in my house.
I'm a grown-up now, Bernardo. I'm gonna think for myself.
What you've done is just so stunning and soulful and authentic and genuine and real and like totally, you know, reinvigorating this classic thing in your own way. And I am absolutely just weirdly proud of someone that I've never met. And I'm so happy to be meeting you. So let's start there.
I'm so happy to be meeting you. I cannot even believe those words just came out of your face towards my face. What's going on?
That's what I'm asking.
I'm telling you that the same sentiment can be shared here.
Aww.
And that's coming from someone who's been watching you for so long. You broke onto the stage in Angels in America so brilliantly and so beautifully. And then to watch you become someone in a musical, and also someone who you're portraying, someone that I hold so near and dear to my heart and have my entire life. I never thought that I would get to see him live again. And so getting to see that on screen is something so special to me. And I lost my whole mind watching that movie. It felt so real to me to watch it all unfold in real time on screen. So I want to thank you for bringing Jonathan into this day and age and bringing him to the forefront of conversation.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I mean, I love that you're so connected to Jonathan and the sentiments you share about, you know, and I think that's one of the amazing things about being a part of this version of Tick, Tick, Boom is that it's continuing those ripples, just like you're continuing the ripples of Sondheim, and Tick, Tick is also continuing those ripples for Sondheim as well. But and I think that's what's so profound about Jonathan. I'm sure that you feel the same way, which is he woke up every morning and decided that he had to sit at the piano. He decided he had to create in the face of abject failure and poverty, and no one ever giving him his flowers, no one ever giving him like the harvest that he so deserved. And the fact that he didn't get to live to see any of that harvest, I find so deeply moving. And I think it's a testament to those of us that feel called and compelled to, you know, create and be artists, no matter, you know, come what may. And I know that, like, it makes me think about this moment for you and how you must feel like you've gone in a certain way, maybe not internally, but externally from 0 to 100, because obviously you are meant to be doing musical theater, you are meant to be acting, you are meant to be singing, it's vocation for you. I can see that, like and I don't know when you knew that consciously, how old you were when you knew that, because right now you're what? You're 12 years old, 13 years old? I'm just kidding, no. You're 20, right?
I'm 20, yeah.
But I mean, what a thing, and that is something so fascinating to me. Like when we feel that awareness of the thing that we feel compelled and kind of a vocation towards doing. I'm wondering about that for you.
I really think it was when I was 12 or 13, oddly enough. It was the first time I ever performed on stage with a cast of people, and I was in Fiddler on the Roof at a Jewish community center.
Oh my God, amazing.
here in New Jersey. I never imagined myself doing films. I can say that the vocation film-wise came from watching Steven Spielberg work.
Right.
And I just realized how important it was to so many people. It just grew in me that I wanted to do film more than anything.
Wow.
But my heart is on the stage. Do you feel a particular calling towards one over the other, or is it very much material based, that like yearning to do something?
It's theatre first for me, since I studied theatre and drama school in London when I was not much younger than you. I started when I was 17. And it's so funny, it's like, just to bring it back to Tick Tick Boom for a second, because, you know, time doesn't really mean anything, time is like a construct. But I remember seeing the first cut that Lin-Manuel showed me of Tick Tick Boom, and I was obviously very, very nervous and excited and all those things, because, you know, it was one of those things that I'm sure that rare thing that we feel as actors when we feel not only like the experience was enough, making the thing was enough,
Right.
you know, that's the victory. The fact that you got to be on set with all those incredible performers, dancers, and Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner and all those people singing Sondheim's lyrics, and with that score, like, that you kind of want to just leave it there and go, well, I never want to see this. I never want anyone to see this. I want this to remain this pure, weird, like, moment in time.
An original dystopian rock musical that I have spent the last 8 years of my life writing and rewriting.
When Lynch first showed me the first cut, I became that 17-year-old drama student again. Like suddenly, I wasn't a 38-year-old man that's been doing this for almost 2 decades, like having a conversation with myself as a younger artist, wondering where I was gonna end up, and then ending up where I am. Because I feel like it was yesterday that I was in your shoes and kind of like just beginning my journey and feeling so kind of overwhelmed, grateful, a huge amount of responsibility and pressure, while at the same time wanting to enjoy every single moment.
Of course.
And that thing of John, I don't know, like, he was in perpetuity. It was a weird thing all the way until he was my age, when he ultimately passed away in this insanely fated way. But yeah, I mean, I'm very, very curious about what this moment's like for you, and in terms of how you're managing between ordinary Rachel, who's just living her life, and then suddenly you have a ring light in front of you, and we're talking about this, you know. And by the way, congratulations on winning the Golden Globe.
Congratulations to you.
even though it's a hard thing to talk about now, because obviously the HFPA are in process with making adjustments and change that is long overdue, and I know that we both probably see eye to eye on that. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's kind of this mirror of the evolution that we're all going through, and I kind of think of it in terms of West Side Story, where West Side Story has been in this evolution for so long. You know, it was 1957, it was on stage for the first time, an incredible creative team, and yet it missed that cultural mark. And then the Bob Wise film in 1961, it missed that cultural mark, besides Rita Moreno, besides Chita Rivera. And this time around, we evolved to a place where we were properly representing the people that the story's about. And we got to this place. And so I kind of think of last night as this is a step of the evolution to get to a place where we're properly representing our audiences and properly representing the people who are behind the camera just as much as the people who are in front of it. So, you know, it is a difficult, weird time. And also I'm sure that it might be a complicated, you know, I don't want to put words in your mouth. It might be a complicated idea for you because Jonathan never got to receive his flowers.
Right.
Does it feel really strange to, you know, be portraying someone who obviously has had such a life beyond the physical, and then to physically be able to receive these accolades that he was not able to?
Oh, it's so interesting. What a great kind of theory that you like. It's a wonderful imagination that you have to be able to get to that point, and it's not far off. I would only say, actually, it only feels positive to me in all those ways. And it's such a strange thing, because it's like, I would much rather make it about him. It's kind of a beautiful thing where I get to receive his love for him. I get to be that channel and that vessel and that bridge to sing a few more phrases of his song for him that he didn't get to complete. And I remember talking to Tony, actually, who adapted your film, about making something that people like, and how it can feel like, you know, when you have to go and talk about it, and, you know, you have to go to multiple rooms and shake multiple hands and say multiple hellos. It can sometimes feel like, the way he put it, was like, it can sometimes feel like punishment.
Yes.
Like,
that's so Tony.
yeah, it's so Tony. And
Yeah.
like, with this particular experience, I'm like, get me out there, because I get to keep talking about Jonathan. And if Variety want to give more air to Jonathan Larson, if Variety want to give more life to Jonathan Larson, and if I get to talk about it with my fellow musical theatre sister, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, hell
Yes.
to the yes, like, no,
Yeah.
no doubt. But that's the kind of the beautiful responsibility that I've felt ever since Lynn introduced me to Tick Tick Boom, and Lynn really kind of like gave me my access to John. But I know that you have felt a similar responsibility, and maybe even a deeper responsibility, and you've talked about it in interviews about, you know, how you feel a good weight, it seems, for your community, for the Latin community.
I think it depends sometimes, because the conversation can turn really nasty really fast when you're talking about representation, because it's such a multi-dimensional conversation. Because it not only is dependent on what generation you're talking to, what their relationship to their own identity is. My dad is white. He's an American man. His family has been in the United States for many, 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 many years. And my mom is Colombian, who, you know, she was born here. And because I wasn't born in Colombia, people think that strips me of that Colombian identity, which could not be further from the truth.
Sure.
I have had the opportunity to talk about the complex identity of being a Latin American woman, where I fall racially on the spectrum as a white Latina, the privilege that I hold in this industry, where I'm considered more palatable to a lot of audiences and to, you know, people at the heads of these production companies that are casting and greenlighting movies and stories. So it's been really awesome to be able to talk about that very candidly and on such a huge stage, and have people actually listen and have commentary and want to continue that conversation. It's a beautiful thing. And I feel like I've gotten to educate as well as learn. And so what more could you possibly want from something? And a lot of that, I credit Tony Kushner with so much of that conversation, because a lot of those questions stem from how Maria has been expanded from this very black and white, virginal, submissive character. She makes decisions, but they're not really for herself. They're for the men in her life involved and in mind. This time around, she's such an 18-year-old girl who is thinking she's doing the best for herself because she thinks she knows way more than she actually knows, which we've all been there. I was 18 when I filmed the damn thing. I thought I knew everything about the world, and I didn't know anything. I still don't know much. But then also I get to talk about her in this very real, sculpting way that gets to showcase her as a very three-dimensional woman, a Renaissance woman. It's really wonderful.
I saw you on the world went away tonight.
There was a real responsibility there to properly represent for my people, but also to let young Latinas and young Latin folks everywhere know that their dreams were not far-fetched, that there are roles for us. Lin-Manuel did Vivo, he did In the Heights this year, and his directorial debut being Tick Tick Boom, like having a Latin director is incredible. And when I was a kid, I think I could only count on one hand how many like major blockbuster Latin directors I was able to see. And it adds a whole new dimension to the stories that we're telling.
I hope that if you're receiving all of the love as well as the nonsense, you know.
It's at one point you just have to shut it all off and think, if I'm not going to read the bad, I'm just not going to read the good either, and I'm just going to believe in what I believe in. And you know, you're not on social media in a public way. I've heard you talk about being in it in a private way. I've heard the conversations. Andrew Garfield, please. I know. And so, there are so many moments where I'm like, I'm going to make like Andrew Garfield and get the hell out of here. I'm going to do it.
I remember starting to get a little bit of attention when I was a little bit older than you. I wasn't quite ready to fully regulate myself and to kind of learn boundaries for myself about what to let in, what not to let in. And yet, at the same time, I wanted just to fall into the moment and enjoy it, take it while it's here, because I think I was afraid of, you know, a scarcity thing. Like it may not be here tomorrow. I better enjoy it while that's all true, but I remember my psyche being very young and like thinking I could handle more than I could handle, and then getting burned and getting some burnout and some kind of overwhelm. And as a young person with the talent and the gifts that you have, and having them honored in this way, having them seen, having them given a lot of light and attention, how do we keep it pure for ourselves? How do we keep that inner child from being censored and influenced and oppressed, I suppose? Is that something you're thinking about right now?
I'm constantly thinking about it because I say to my friends and family a lot about feeling like a human being, first and foremost, and not a form of entertainment, a form of someone's distraction, or just a picture on a screen that people think has no feelings or brain, you know? And so a lot of times it's just, for the first thing was limiting what I was reading. You know, I didn't read any reviews. I didn't allow any of that to influence how I felt, because I was, you know, when we read those reviews or when those reviews come out, we're usually in the middle of trying to, you know, put the movie out and roll it out and advertise and do everything that we can. And if in the back of your head you're thinking about the one person who says something really horrible about your performance in the middle of nowhere, like it taints the whole experience. So that was really number one in making me feel like I wasn't just a headline and I was a person. It's the people I surround myself with when I'm not at work.
Amen, yeah.
I actually called my boyfriend after the Golden Globes came out, and I told him, and he went, "No, you didn't. Rachel, I have to do a self-tape." Like, it's just kind of like, and that's why I was like, that's why I love you. That's why this feels normal. This is functional. My parents know better than anyone how badly I don't want to talk about certain things. My dad reads everything that's written about me. He reads everything.
I wonder if our dads are related. Wait,
I wonder.
Is your father of Polish descent?
Yes.
Yeah, my father is also of Polish descent, and he's like an athlete, like sports mentality, swimming coach, like win at all costs, but like also like a kind of like a hidden secret artist in himself, like. But he's so proud of me, and like he literally he's a hoarder when it comes to the Andrew Garfield fan club. Like he will, I love it. And he will want to murder anyone that ever writes anything bad.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, exactly that. I see him on his phone, and like I'm the top Google search. I'm like, stop it, because I don't do it.
It's the sweetest. Oh man, to have a dad like that is a gift.
It really is.
And it might, but it's also a curse at the same time.
I know, because then I have to find out things that he's finding out through reading. And he's like, "Hey, is this true? Is it true that you and so-and-so? Is that a thing?" And I'm like,
"Oh my God, Dad."
Rest assured, Dad, I would tell you if that were real. It's just one of those things. But
I love the sound of your dad, by the way. What's your dad's name?
He's great. Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Craig.
You sound
What's your
great.
dad's name? Because I think they should be friends.
They should hang.
Richard
they should
and Craig
absolutely
should
hang.
Be best friends.
Where are they? Are they in New Jersey?
Yeah, we're all in New Jersey. But like you said, there's definitely a sports dad mentality, because I used to be the sports kid.
Oh, really?
So,
what did you play?
Yeah, I was really good at volleyball and really good at softball. And then it was not bringing me joy.
No,
the competition of it just did not bring me joy, and I liked the idea of theater, of having a common goal.
But then the community of theater is kind of
unmatched. You had the opportunity to, you know, work with some of the greatest Broadway has to offer. Not only Angels in America, because I do consider you the greatest Broadway has to offer after Angels in America. Like, it's just
that's
unreal.
Kind. Thank you.
And I watched you win the Tony. I was beside myself. When you heard that Lin was directing and it was his directorial debut, were you at all nervous to be working with a first-time director? Because honestly, like, juxtaposed to me, I had all the trust in the world in Steven Spielberg to make a good movie, you know? It was like, imagine I would sat there, I was like really apprehensive, being like, I don't know about this Steven guy.
This old white dude.
I don't know about this guy. I don't know if he can really tell a story.
It's so weird considering him a first-time director, because he is one of the the creative genius is alive right now.
Yeah,
so like, I think
absolutely.
unfortunately for him, I didn't have the expectation that he would be a first-time director. You know, his work preceding him in the way that it does, you kind of go, oh dear buddy, like I have very high expectations of you as a person that's never directed. Like I really
Yeah.
think you ought to be very good at this, and if you're not, I'm gonna be very disappointed. So it was that, you know, and when he approached me about it, I was towards the end of doing Angel with Tony in New York, and I was also in like the height of, no pun intended, of my Hamilton in the Heights adoration, and you know, just wishing that I wasn't a white guy so I could be in Hamilton, you know what I mean, without playing the king. You know, I was in that place in my own psyche, and I'd seen it like 4 or 5 times at that point already. So when he called, it was like, well, it's an immediate yes, you know, in the same way with Stephen. For most any actor, it would be an immediate yes, because you know you're going to be taken care of, you know you're going to be telling a story that is deep, layered, rich, no matter, because and at that point I didn't know he wanted to do Jonathan's story, I didn't know he wanted to do Tick, Tick, Boom. So it was an immediate yes just because it was Lin, but then he slid across the music and lyrics of Tick, Tick, Boom to me across the table at lunch. And he wrote in the front, you know, this won't make sense to you now, but I promise you it will, Siempre, Lin-Manuel. And I was like, okay, here we go.
So was it like a general meeting that you originally said yes to? Or was it, I'm directing something and I want you to be in it, let's meet?
We share a massage therapist in New York. If you need a good body worker, Greg Miele.
I love it. I love it. That's the best connection to have to someone.
Yeah. But you should see Greg Miele. He works on lots of dancers and singers and performers in the city.
Wonderful.
Yeah, he'll make you feel like a newborn baby, and it's the best. Yeah, and so he was getting work done by Greg one day, and he said, you know, can Andrew Garfield sing? I know you're close with Andrew. Can he sing? And Greg kind of lied and said, oh buddy, he's the greatest singer in the world, he's, of course he can sing, like not knowing, having any idea. As soon as Lin leaves, he calls me and he's like, Greg calls me and he's like, hey, you better be able to sing, because I just told you well, because he wants to do something with you. And I knew there was something, I didn't know what it was, and then he kind of told me that it was Tick, Tick, Boom, and I had known Rent, obviously, but to be honest, I wasn't a big Rent, like Jonathan Larson head. I wasn't like hugely, but it was kind of a good thing, because for me, it was like, I came in with a kind of clean slate. I came in with not much baggage, I suppose, in terms of the legend of John, and enabled me to have reverence while also having some irreverence, and actually getting to his nooks and crannies, his ordinariness, his difficulty, his self-centeredness, his narcissism, to really make him a whole human being rather than a kind of lionized, idealized, you know, version of him that I don't think would have been a good film. I don't think he would have liked. I think like the whole point of Tick, Tick, Boom felt like it was a very vulnerable kind of self-ownership moment for him, of like, I've been blind, I've been this, I've been totally obsessed, I haven't been in my heart, I haven't been paying attention to the loss, the grief, the agony of the people around me, because it's just too much for me to bear. I fear that I might crumble under the weight of the heartbreak of losing my friends to the AIDS epidemic. But actually the key to his art, the key to his music, the key to the opus that he left us with, which was Rent, was letting his heart be broken open by the friends and the family in his life that were under threat, whose lives and heartbeats were under threat, and his own sense of impending death, that weird unconscious knowing that he seemed to have, that at the age of 36, that he wasn't gonna see the first preview of Rent off Broadway. And some people still don't know that he died the night before the first preview of Rent off Broadway. And I think that the ticking was this unconscious knowing that he wasn't allowed to sleep, he wasn't allowed to eat, he just had to write and write and write, like he was, to quote Lin, running out of time, because he was.
Lately I've been hearing this sound. Like a tick, tick, tick.
And I remember speaking to Julie Larson, his sister, at the after party in New York, and I said to her, kind of, you know, we were having a beautiful moment, and I said, God, I wish he was here. And then she said, oh, you would have got over that immediately if you'd actually known my brother. Like, it was like a very sweet, kind of like
Yeah.
sister going, I know, we all love Johnny, but like, you know, he was a pain in the ass. Like he
I
was
love it.
like,
I love
it was
it.
that thing. Yes, and
Yeah.
that's like how I think he would be grinning, looking down, going, yeah, I was a fucking pain in the ass, and that's
Yeah.
like, I own that.
You know, I'm actually moving to London tonight to go shoot something for 6 months.
Rachel.
I need you to send me recommendations though.
Of
I
course,
need
yeah,
you
of
to
course.
let me know where I need to go and what I need to do and what I need to see.
Definitely, yeah.
And I just got off this massive press tour, and I just felt like my feet had finally touched the
honey,
ground
yeah.
right when I had to pick up and leave again. And forgive me, I did not expect to get emotional, but when you said that, and I watched it the other night again, and when you said that, I just thought, yeah, yeah, that's it. I don't have time. But you know, the truth is, Jonathan was so obsessed with that fact, where the most famous song he's ever written is about how many minutes are in a year.
How do you measure?
And
how do you measure a life?
how do you measure a life?
Yeah.
And so that movie cracked me open for real. Beyond the fact that I got to hear my beautiful friend Steve Sondheim's voice in your movie, which I can't even explain. Like, I was watching it with my boyfriend and I said it after the fact. I was like, I think that was his real voice. And we had to rewind and watch again. Completely broke me in half. I'd actually put off watching it because he passed away so soon after it had come out that I just couldn't bring myself to do it. What was that like? Because I don't know what your relationship, you know, with theater in general, were you influenced by Stephen Sondheim in any way, that having that presence in the film, beautifully done by Bradley Whitford, and then also having the actual voicemail there?
Sondheim became a mentor that I didn't know I needed during filming, you know. So I met Stephen once through another mentor of mine, Mike Nichols. I don't know if you ever met Mike.
I never met him, but I adored his work.
My connection with Steve Sondheim was through Mike, who and they seem very akin to each other. They seem very, very similar in the way of, they did become mentors to a whole generation of artists, and not only did they create and leave such vital, beautiful, humanist work in the world, but they also left another legacy of mentorship that we lack in our industry a lot.
I have to say, I disagree pretty strongly, Walter. I think this is a musical that knows exactly what it is.
Yes.
I do want to chat about something that you have been so hysterically good at hiding. And I was exhausted on your behalf watching interviews where you're just trying to talk about Tick, Tick, Boom.
Yeah.
And everyone's, you know, you're talking about the legacy of Jonathan Larson and he's so wonderful, and Rent. And everyone's like, so are you in Spider-Man? Right, Rent, right. Are you in Spider-Man? You must be in So, you know, and believe me, I've seen it. And I loved it, and I cried like a baby. My boyfriend and I are obsessed with Spider-Man in general, and so getting to see you and Toby and Tom, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, all of these incredible folks. And I just, you know, how long has it been since you had to put on the suit and before you filmed Spider-Man?
6 or 7 years of at least, I would say, actually, maybe even longer than that. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't imagine I would ever be doing it again, and I kind of closed that chapter and kind of gave it a kiss and said thank you, and then became a fan again, because like you, I am just a fan of the character since the first Halloween costume when I was 3 years old, my mother made out of felt.
My mom also made all of my Halloween costumes growing
the
up.
best.
And she made a Snow White costume for herself, not for me. For herself.
Wild. Oh, that's so cool. So then it kind of came around, and they had this mind-blowing idea of the three of us in the thing together. And that was kind of enough. I was like, well, that's, to be a part of that, because first and foremost, I am a fan. So I was like, oh, damn, I have to do that. Just for like 3-year-old me, and for all the other 3-year-old me's out there, including you and your boyfriend and everyone else who's in the theater, like, yeah, man, like it was kind of like, oh damn, I guess I got to go to Atlanta and keep this a secret and blah blah blah. But then on top of that, it was like, you know, and then it became a really cool exercise in making it not just, you know, a superficial moment for fans, like actually making it of service to Tom's Peter Parker.
Absolutely.
And to Tom's, to Tom's Spider-Man. That felt really, really important. And also as a bonus, the first scene that I was pitched was I don't want to give any spoilers, but I mean, for people who haven't seen the film, but there's a very emotional moment where there's a rescue.
Yeah.
And that my character, is a part of, and that felt like the most kind of like healing thing for my Peter Parker, and for across universes, being able to rescue the love life and the love of my younger brother in this other multi-dimensional universe. Like that felt quite profound, actually. I was like, oh, well, that's like spooky meant destiny sliding doors stuff where if the film can achieve that. And John Watts, the director, is incredibly brilliant and smart and funny, but also has a real big heart. And I think that's what I find so moving. They're just so full of goodness, and what he creates with Zendaya and with Jacob is just this love, like this pure love. And so to be a part of it was just incredibly fun, incredibly exciting. And it was very fun lying about it. I'm not gonna lie. It's weird. It was weird. Like, I'm not a great liar, but I love games. I love playing like Werewolf, or I don't know if you ever played the game Werewolf or Mafia.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Yes.
So like, to be able to play a game of mass werewolf with the internet, with like millions of people, like, was kind of amazing. I'm just in my house.
It is. It's so fun. Because I'm in a superhero movie as well, and my character for a long time before Dame Helen Mirren spilled the beans.
Oh no, Dame. She's always spilling the beans.
Don't you just hate when Helen Mirren tells the secrets to everyone? I mean, I was like, if anyone's gonna spill this secret, it might as well be Dame Helen Mirren. But I have to say, as someone who's just such a fan of your Peter Parker, directed by Mark Webb so beautifully, I love those movies, and I love the dynamic between Peter and Gwen so much. The theatrical experience of seeing Spider-Man was one of the greatest I've ever had, because that's the thing that I quote the most, is just like Willem Dafoe's laugh all the time. But when you come on screen, it is, we were literally hitting each other. We were, all of us, complete strangers in the theater.
Oh,
and
that's great.
It just opens and we're like, oh my God, it's happening. And we knew it was going to happen. There was something in the back of our heads that we knew, but it was still so friggin' exciting.
Very, very cool. And also, like, it's a kind of, there was a brotherhood that got created between Toby, Tom, and myself. And like, that's healing as well, between Toby and Tom and I, where we were like, oh my God, like, you find it hard to pee in the suit. I find it hard to pee in the suit, and like, and deeper versions of that as well. But I'm so excited for you, because you're about to go and work with Mark Webb, who I love, on your mother's Halloween costume movie.
Yes, yeah. I feel like my mom is gonna like distract me and get in the car and go to the airport and be like, I'm here to film the movie. She's gonna do it. But,
dude, that is exciting. What an amazing thing, and perfect casting. They say directing is like 80% casting. Mark is a great director in that regard, because like you are Snow White. You are canon Snow White at this point in my imagination. But also, how are you feeling about it? How are you feeling about the role and about the experience?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I never in a million years imagine that would be a possibility for me, particularly Snow White in general. You don't normally see Snow Whites that are of Latin descent. Yeah. Even though Snow White is really a big deal in like Spanish speaking countries, Blancanieves is like a huge icon, whether you're talking about the Disney cartoon or just different iterations in the Grimm fairy tale and all the stories that come with it. Yeah. So she is really big in the Spanish language, but you don't particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely, when it got announced, it was a huge thing that was like trending on Twitter for days, because all of the people were angry. And so it was like,
those people.
Very much this, it was this awakening.
The people that we need to educate, the people that we need to love into awareness.
Love them in the right direction, exactly.